Boom bop. Bizzity bop.
We here.
I like how he ducked immediately before I switched over.
Franny?
Are we live?
Oh,
Yeah, for that.
Franny!
For exclusively
everybody.
that joke.
Welcome back to Embers by Daybreak, brought to you by Natural One RPG. Good to see you all again, even though I might as well be speaking into the endless void because we can't see the audience. But we feel you in our hearts. Anyways, where we last left off. Oh, and before we start these things, I want to say congratulations to Dylan for growing up a year and for running a pretty great game last Friday. If you haven't seen Kobold and Brash yet, definitely watch it when the VOD comes up, or just look at our...
watch the VOD. I mean, you can watch the VOD now on Twitch.
Yeah. Or wait till
it will be on YouTube on Friday,
where it won't be monetized because YouTube. But yes,
won't be monetized anyway. This isn't monetized.
What?
Too many big boy swears in it. They can't put money on it.
You guys are being paid?
Where's my residuals?
But yes, where we last left off, the party had gone down to the brig to discover what the disturbance was there after they found Cyril running down the hall, one of the brig guards, obviously distressed. As the performance all went down, they found a bloodbath, to say the least, as the entire left side of the room was covered in guts and gore and body parts of what was formerly the mutineers, led by Ulrich, who himself, while alive, was in dire straits, having lost his left arm. Regardless, they looked for the being that they deemed guilty of the act, a certain former player character who was thrown in the brig for reasons that was unknown to most of the party. But during that time, they were assaulted by two specters of
Christmas past.
Right, of mutiny past in a way. As
There we go.
As the specters of Tavian and Tanet came back and gave them a really hard time. Nevertheless, they engaged in combat, and after some long and tedious and a little bit worrying moments, they managed to defeat both specters, and managed to get Ulrich out of there and to the office of Dr. Rykov, where on the way they were met by Captain Brand, who joined them into the office. They found the doctor strangely shrouded in a blanket, but nevertheless he managed to put Ulrich down in some sort of state of subconsciousness so that he could rest. But during that time, Nephra, since you were right next to it to see what type of liquid the doctor was using to induce this sleep for Ulrich, you do notice the telltale sign of violet veins on the doctor's hands.
Yep. Yarp.
So with that. Oh, and Terry rolled 2 natural ones last session. It became really great at talking to people, and one thing that she doesn't know yet, and it has grown to be a bit more furrier.
I mean, if that's all that happened, what more could
Look,
you
it's
ask for?
2019,
Like,
it's becoming more common. So.
Mm-hmm. Free to like her. Let's do it. But yes, anyways, with that said, Marshall's back.
Yep.
You're all in this filthy, smelly room that you know well as the doctor's room. And to Percival, you Petrichor, standing in the back, you don't see what Nephra sees. All you see is Ulrich slowly close his eyes and fall into a relaxed state of sleep. But Nephra, you see the doctor's hand come out into the light a little bit and see those violet veins. What do you all do?
I'm still kind of just staring relatively catatonically.
Oh yeah, you did receive some news or information that might prove crucial later on.
You know.
Yes,
You
what
know,
do you
just,
all do?
certain existential problems going in Percival's head right
Well,
now.
Well, Doctor, I'm assuming that you have this all taken care of. You'll fix him up. We're good to go. Let me know if you need a shower after you deal with all this first later. I'll be able to help you out.
The doctor looks in your direction, Petrichor. He doesn't fully turn, but he
Mhm,
does start moving his head in to indicate that he did hear you.
mhm.
But as he does that, he sees you, Nephra, closer. It seems that with the shrouded, how he is shrouded, his peripherals have suffered because they're covered, and he finally notices how close you are and quickly retracts his hand uh, from Ulrich's still kind of raw but now somewhat sealed a wound thanks to your your cure wounds. Man, the Hungarian accent comes out when it really shouldn't. But yes. It's like, yeah. I I'll talk to you about that later. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, we'll leave you to it.
Captain Brand stands there, looking down at the boat surgeon. Dr. Rykov, really consider Petrichor's words. It's a shame to see you like this. Come on, everybody out. And she starts stepping over some stuff on the ground, and starts going towards the hall.
Yeah, I don't really move. I don't move at all. Like, my head doesn't turn.
All right, so Petrichor, you're leaving the room.
Yeah, I was the first one out of the room.
All right, Captain Brand follows after you.
Mhm.
Dr. Rykov will look at you two, or indicate that he's looking at you two. He's not fully making eye contact or not showing his face. I should really tend to his wounds. I'm gonna need some space, and you guys can go. You know, like
All right. Just remember, you can't really help people until you help yourself. Don't be afraid to put yourself before everyone else for the good of the ship.
you see Dr. Rykov twitch ever so slightly. Just hesitate in that right moment to indicate that something in your words really hit home. But he nods beneath his blanket, and he's using as a shroud. Yeah.
Oh man, Shroud. Gamer extraordinaire.
But yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Arsene's gonna turn and walk out, and as he does so, he's gonna drag his glaive along the floor a little bit, so it just scratches the floor, and then
Right.
up and leave.
Percival, you hear the almost unsettling noise of the wood hitting wood as Nephra doesn't pick up his glaive off the ground. It makes that noise.
I don't really actually pay too much mind to that.
All right. Yes, it
Too
leaves
busy
you.
thinking about many things.
It leaves you and the doctor alone temporarily until Captain Brand comes back. Never you pass Captain Brand. She starts coming back into to the room. She doesn't walk in, but she stands at the doorway. One more thing. You with the scarf.
I don't really hear her at first.
Speaking to you.
Brad Pitt turns.
She's speaking a little or kind of softly at all? Or
She's speaking in the regular tone she usually has, which is the same rate anybody would be talking to anybody.
okay.
Not forcefully, but with that authoritative tone that is befitting of a captain.
Yeah, I'm very much in like the I am very much in like the like the war flashback kind of mode at the moment. So I mean, she's looking from behind me, but I'm very not hearing of many things.
She looks down at Dr. Rykov. Doctor, when he comes to, from whatever delirium he is, could you tell him that I need to see him later on tonight? In my quarters? The doctor looks, almost fully looks at the captain before looking down. Yeah, no, I think he heard you, but yeah, I'll let him know, Captain. Good. We need to discuss some things. Oh, excuse me. And she turns and walks away. Now, fully leaving Percival, you and Dr. Rykov alone.
Okay, still haven't really come to yet.
All right. And you see Dr. Rykov stand up and doesn't take the shroud off, but does move it up slightly so you can see his face. Percival. Hey. You're right in there.
Sorry. I guess I didn't expect to hear about him right now. I'd maybe hope that he just got buried back with the rest of the land.
So you think that's what the other was talking about? The old bastard?
Of course. If anybody would make it out of that, it'd be that ass.
Well, that just puts a lot more things to worry about on my plate of
On the
things to
plus
worry
side,
about.
It gives me the idea that there is his idea of potential land may actually exist. If I guess you want to take silver linings out of it. But I don't
I'll
know
take
what I don't know if I would rather be on the sea for the rest of my life than go into a land that's effectively a death trap.
Well, in any case, here's hoping we make it to get that choice.
I don't know if it's a choice I feel I want to make.
It's true. All right,
I'm
I do
sorry,
need...
I heard my name from the captain. What did she say?
She says she needs to talk to you later on tonight. You're to report to her quarters.
Alright, I'll try maybe going sooner than later. Turns out things catch up to me a lot faster than they did before. Man, were you this tired all the time?
Yeah, that's called being fatigued. And you look hurt too.
Oh, well, that didn't help for sure. Weird ghost-like creatures that it decided to spawn in the brig didn't help. However, in general, I have noticed I get tired much earlier than I guess I used to.
Might be a side effect. Here,
Of humanity, probably.
probably. I'm probably not used to it. Hang on. You see him take off or go over, closes the door first, and then go to his table and pull out a stethoscope. Yes, those are what those things are called. DM Francisco had to remind himself what doctor's equipment was.
Heartbeat thingy.
Stethoscope. No. I think you mean a kaleidoscope. Let me look at you. Ooh.
Pretty sure it's an oscilloscope. Let's be real.
I, there's something definitely wrong with you. You're coming up in different colors, man.
Is that effectively what the professor from Three Houses uses to find your seal? Here, let me see. Oh wow, you got. Oh man, what a seal!
Oh man, no get naked. All
right.
But yes, he pulls one out and looks at you. Okay. Don't take this the wrong way. Take off your shirt.
Please.
No,
I didn't realize
don't,
you missed me
don't.
that much.
There it is. I'm not in the mood. Just
Oh,
let
well,
me
then
do a quick.
neither am I.
Look,
I will. Yes, I will.
I could literally be dying right now, and you're pulling this shit on me.
You could be. Tell me, if I was what I was before, would you, and you were in this scenario, do you think you would want to experiment with my potential contagion, or would you rather stick with your humanity?
I'd rather not think about that right now, as I feel like I might be. There's a good chance I might not be alive to think about that. Shirt off now. Come on.
I'm working on it. So I've finished taking off, unbuttoning
Take out multiple
everything.
layers.
Once you have the shirt off, even remotely or somewhat off, enough to bare the chest, he goes in and puts the cold stethoscope on your chest, and you feel the sensation of it touching your skin.
I'm not as cold as it used to be.
Yeah, it's a lot worse than you remember before. As it
This
now
used to
this
feel like a cold, this used to feel like just the same thing touching me.
exactly. And now it's like what the. You kind of jump a little bit. But as he does that real quick and puts it up to put the opposite in his ears, he waits for a little bit, and you see his eyebrows furrow as his violet veined face now moves the stethoscope up and then down. Then he drops it completely and grabs your wrist rather forcefully and presses his fingers right at below the palm. You see him just mutter to himself, "What the?" As he goes in and then puts his two fingers up to your neck.
I have a feeling you're checking if I am alive, and I will very much tell you, yes, I am.
Except
You are.
you shouldn't be.
Well, based on what I prefer just calling her the strange coffin lady. Based on what she told me, there is a lot to it, apparently. And there's a reason why there was a me in that brick and me here.
Yeah. First of all, you know you don't have a heartbeat, right?
You mean now or then?
No. Even then you had a heartbeat.
Huh. Interesting how I am warm then.
Yeah, no. When I felt your neck and your wrist, I pressed down to see if there could be if there was at least blood flow, or to see if the pulse was there, but you definitely have blood moving in your body. You just don't have a heartbeat.
I thought those two things were, I guess you could say that they were forced to work with each other. You could only have one and the other without the other.
It would appear so. But you don't have a beating heart. You shouldn't be standing here right now.
Well, I think there are many reasons for that one. I can't assure you. All I know is that I saw, I don't know, before I woke up, you know, it's almost as if I sank into a world that the other, I guess you could say, the copy of me came up to. So I feel there's definitely more to this, but it only gives me reason to one day find my other half and destroy it. Even if it means the end of me, at least it will be the end of that. If anything, I believe then it is my purpose to eliminate the disgust that was a part of me.
Well, whatever the case is, if you feel anything, you let me know, okay?
I kind of give him that squint. Oh, I'll let you know.
Again, I could be dying. And this is what you hit me with?
Well, but you know, well, how about you find a solution there?
I,
Blanket
sorry,
boy.
I was mourning the death of my best friend.
And as I said last time, now you can work on finding the solution.
It doesn't work that.
I think it does. I
Anyways.
think you don't need to mourn anymore. Therefore, your top priority maybe is to save your own life for once.
I don't think you know how grief works. Anyways, leave. I do need to attend to Ulrich here.
Fine.
There's no telling what sort of nerve damage he might have received. Gotta make sure he's all right, and then he could tell us more about this message, or whatever this your other said.
Well, try to be careful with them, I guess. Never know when that whatever it is gonna crop up its ugly side.
Oh no, I hear you. Well, at the very least, he's been unarmed.
It's not him that I'm worried about in that statement.
Oh yeah. Well, my terrible pun aside. Yeah. Oh, be careful.
Yes. Well, I have to be careful. I have a meeting with the captain. So I'm just gonna-
Make sure you don't go with the shirt off.
Well, that was me putting the shirt on.
Doesn't mean you button it. You just
Well, I
it's a
put
vest
it on.
now.
Well, I put it on, so as I walk away, we'll start
Okay.
buttoning it. And as I walk very properly, as I walk away, because that was my point. I was supposed to be like, I have a meeting with the captain.
Good luck with that. And then
I'll need
you
it.
leave. And with that, you leave the room. Nephra, Petrichor, what were you two doing during this time as you went up? Or were you going back up to the deck? Were you going down below?
I probably wanted to talk. Captain probably wanted. Did we give her the lowdown exactly what happened? I think we said after we were taking care of Ulrich. So
Yep.
I'm sure I followed her back to her office, talked about this stuff.
Okay. Nephra, where did you go?
Did we... Have I gotten the full name of our new medic friend with a penchant for biting?
Who's on the other ship right now?
Yeah.
All you got was Dr.
Zombie-
Mine.
It's-
All you got was Dr. Mine with a apostrophe between M-I and then N-E.
Okay.
That's all you got.
And she is for sure on the other ship right now, correct?
Well, you can confirm it with your eyes if you go up to the top deck. But otherwise, you've been told that she has left the ship.
Right. There's no way for me to get over to her easily.
Now,
will
without
make
having
your
good
way.
reason. Because in order to get to her, you have to go through the entire refugee armada. Which last time it took you a while.
Right, that little old thing.
Yeah. The other ships trying to survive.
Yeah. Who
Well,
does
aren't they
that?
technically still like within sight view of us because like they were fighting us, then there was a parlay and like they shouldn't have been too far.
Well, I'm talking about the ashes. The ashes is kind of a bit of a distance. It's still within sight, but there are several dozen ships between the two bigger ones. The ashes and the Ember are definitely the two bigger ships in this. The Levianka, you assume, is still trending close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. And Mini's on the Levyanka.
No, Mine
No?
is on the Ashes.
Oh.
She was part of the as a representative from the Ashes to pay their respects for the funeral, which was the only reason why she was coming over.
Okay.
Because you're also
I thought she was part of the Levyanka for some reason. I don't know why.
I know that was a confusion from last game too. That
Yeah, it was a while
we
back
had.
though.
Yeah, no worries. She is from the Ashes, so if you ever need to go
Got
talk to Captain Nora again, she'll be there. And she is their equivalent of Dr. Rykov on that ship.
Got it.
But yes.
All right. Well, then Nephra is going to. I'm in a bit of a pickle right now. I'm trying to think who is going to be the person on this ship that is most familiar with curses.
You gotta think about it real good.
Yeah.
Or better yet,
Think
make
about
me
that
an
real
intelligence
good.
check.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, basic intelligence check.
Either that or he's just going to run to Quilleth and be like, "Help!"
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
When you gotta get rid of a curse, just roll a natural one. Okay. So let me
Hey!
get this out die. I keep, man. I feel like the last few natural ones I've had have like I've rolled zeros for like percentile.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
3.
boy.
But you got a natural one?
Yeah.
The 3 was his percentile, I
3
believe
is
is
the
what he meant.
percentile.
No
Oh.
way, really?
Yeah.
Tight. All right,
He was
give me one
mentioning getting
second.
those zeros, so
Hey, Mama.
You feel like the only person who would be able to relate to you with curses was the dwarf that drank seawater out of the tea kettle. But he's dead.
Yeah. F.
the
Meanwhile-
big F.
With a 3, roll me a d20.
Oh, jeez.
I don't remember what's a lot of the low
I
numbers.
don't know why,
so.
but that you saying that just like hit me with like just this like
Uh-oh.
terror.
No. Oh God,
Happy
no.
first of Halloween, everybody. 18.
18. Petrichor.
Uh-huh.
Get ready to have a new friend.
Right.
See, never die.
What the fuck?
Petrichor.
Uh-huh.
As you're walking with the captain,
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden you feel this intense pain in the back of your right thigh.
Oh my
As
God.
for
Wah!
some reason, Nephra has lashed out with his weapon and made a single melee attack to the closest creature to him.
Ow! That's
Yeah.
what the hell?
And with a roll of 25, he does hit you. Nephra, go ahead.
Hey, I
Roll.
didn't roll that.
Nephra, go ahead and roll. Well, it was an 18 plus 7. Go ahead and roll 1d4.
I still didn't roll that.
1d8
Okay,
plus 4.
Was it me? What do you mean?
Alright.
Yeah, roll damage.
1d8
If I said I
plus
can't
4.
do it,
Or
that's why I
1d10.
can't do
1d10, my bad.
Yeah, so I was just checking. It's 1d10. If we're gonna do this, we gotta do it right. Okay. Please roll low. Okay, that's not terrible. So it's gonna be 9 points of damage.
Ouch!
Ow!
Vibe check.
That's hurty.
Are you saying this in character or as
Nope.
McKenna?
No, I already yelled about it.
That wanted.
That was
Boy.
real bad. That's a ouch.
Petrichor, that's a strange reaction to have.
I revert back
Well,
to
you
my
hit
younger
me.
self.
Yeah.
Mom.
That
that hit me.
what?
Captain Brand turns around. Nephra, what did I tell you about hitting your fellow crewmates?
Sorry.
Only do it when Dad's around.
Oh, do it when Dad's around.
That's why you get me on the weekends.
Only
Um,
fight each other when you're with your father.
Your father.
Petrichor, you do yell out, and Captain Brand does look at you, and then look back at the glaive, and then look back at Nephra.
Nefer, what was that about? Ow, that really hurt.
Oops.
Are you good?
Nephra, and you see Captain Brand puts a hand on the hilt of her strange halberd head sword. Explain.
Can I drop the glaive?
Yes.
Okay. I let go and it lets go and it falls.
Yes.
It floats back up to your hand.
Nephra is standing a good 10 feet away from you, but that is the extent of his reach. So kind of like the tip of his halberd or his glaive hit you.
Oh, pretty bad.
He's going to raise his hand. And I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at first level on Petrichor.
Okay.
You have to be touching her for that. Cure Wounds is a touch spell.
Oh, man. Oh, darn.
I mean, you could just drop it and be like,
shoot. Shoot, dang, darn. And then I walk up to Petrichor and I cast Cure Wounds.
Bro, what the fuck? Was that just a vibe check for no reason? Like, what was that?
Total vibe check.
So you see Nephra look at you, look at the glaive, drop the glaive, kind of just shamble on over to you. Mind you, he does have only 10 hit points. He looks terrible right now.
Do you get confused there, bud?
So I'm gonna lightly pat her shoulder. I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds. She's gonna get. Let's see here. Hey, there we go. She's gonna get 9 hit points back.
Oh, perfect.
hey, look at that.
Yeah.
The
Back
wound
full health.
seals up. Still a bit raw, but no longer open.
Dude, what?
It's okay. I prefer SmackDown.
You need to go to bed.
Easy W's,
You're
where's that,
not
man?
feeling well. You
I
need to rest.
Oh man, NWO.
I don't know why I did that. But it didn't feel like the other times where I didn't know why I was using the glaive. This was like a different version of that, which is kind of scarier when you think about it.
Sure.
Felt a lot more like, oops.
It seems like a 5% chance of happening.
I don't know. Technically, the action of that happening has a 1% chance.
That's true.
I don't feel so good.
As he fades into
bet.
dust.
I think you should go and try to get some sleep. I know it's early, but we've been through a lot.
Just go lie down.
I don't know if sleep's gonna be enough. I mean, when we were doing the thing that we were doing, it felt like something was taken from me. Like I don't know if even magic by itself would be enough to make me feel totally right again. I'm really confused right now. This has been a really long day. I think you can agree.
Well, first step is getting some sleep and seeing what that can do. That's the best I could do.
Okay. Okay.
Go take a little nap.
Got it.
Or a full nap.
Never's gonna down. just from standing to prone. And just immediately falls asleep.
The captain is there.
Petrichor, both you and Captain Brand just look down at this poor tiefling boy who's laying perfectly face down on the ground.
Yep, face down.
Hey, Captain. I'll tell you about the issue we had in the brig. I say this quietly so no one's like, "Hey,
Captain."
Captain, we got an issue in the
Yo,
brig."
Captain.
Hey, Captain. We
got
got a
shadow.
problem
I'll let
right
her know,
here.
like,
This dork.
I'll go drop him off in the sleeping quarters, and then I'll meet you in your office. 5.
Around-
Is that okay?
Around this time, Percival, you actually leave the captain's quarters. Are you going up at the top deck or bottom deck?
Do you mean Dr. Rykoff's office?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I
I
say?
was like, when did I get to the
Captain's
captain's
quarters.
Oh, my bad. No,
That's
you're,
okay.
When
since
did
I
I
said
get
it.
there?
They're the same room.
I'm getting ahead of
Wait a
myself here.
minute.
But yes, you do step out of Captain Rykoff's quarters. You're not too far away. You are within eye shot of what you see Nephra on the ground, face down, and both the captain and Petrichor looking down at him.
Wait, so I see
Petrichor
that?
looking. Yes, you do see that.
Yeah, I'll go slightly investigating here.
All right. As you approach, you see Captain Brand look up at you. Before you come see me in my office, take him to the male quarters.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I
Aren't you?
know. But you're still going to take care of him.
Well, I'll do that. I just wanted to make sure it was clear. I'm also laughing while saying that. Like, that part is genuine.
Take him down. If you need any help getting there, ask some of the crew. Petrichor, you come with me.
Got
Seems
it.
like a light boy. I haven't lifted him, but we'll see how it goes. As I'll try to lift him up.
Roll for light boy.
Well,
Nephra.
my lift is
Yeah.
360 pounds. Are you over 360 pounds?
No.
Then we're good.
You're a sopping 160.
Wait, what am I
At
again?
best.
I can't.
You don't have a weight
I
listed.
am.
Since I'm not throwing you,
oh, I
at
didn't put
least
it in yet.
picking
I
you up
forgot.
is not necessarily as much of a check as many other
Um,
things. So.
Make me a regular strength check. You can add your athletics to it.
He's 147 pounds, by the
Why?
way.
Reasons
11.
for 11. Yeah, you pick him up. You got him in a decent fireman's carry.
But will
Over
you
the
let me
shoulder.
down?
It's not real. It's not really comfortable for him, but he's not putting up much of a fuss.
Well, inherently, if I can lift 360 pounds, why would a fireman carry him?
To see how you carry him,
I don't know. I could just carry him like a little baby.
you could.
A little baby.
But as a person who knows how much 300 pounds weighs, you don't want that in your in front of you.
Oh yeah.
Or at least 140 pounds, I should say.
Any hoozle, he gets him
Yes.
down there.
And you take Nephra down to the men's quarters. As Petrichor, you and Captain Brand proceed on upward to the top of the deck, where you see Calvin standing there holding the hand of a dark-haired individual, tall, with faint tiger-like features on his face.
Oh.
And you know him.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen him looking at Terry sometimes. And you
We
see
had a
behind-
conversation.
Yes,
shortly.
you had a very short conversation.
Mhm.
And behind them, you do see the built, taller female black-blooded Daybreak
Mm.
who's standing there with her arms crossed.
Mhm.
And you see the shorter and thinner person of the same race who's standing there also with his arms crossed, but less intimidating than the person next to him. The only person that's different between the three is the man who is standing there with one hand, or kind of leaning down a bit to allow Calvin to hold his hand. He seems very uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable. Hey, Calvin. What's up?
You see Calvin's eyebrows go up As a faint, shy little smile comes on his face as he sees you. The captain next to you explains, "I couldn't just leave Calvin alone, so asked nearest. I asked some of the nearest crew to look after him for a brief second. Didn't take long to convince him. And this gentleman here was the first one available."
Got it. Okay.
As you see him look back at the captain, yeah, he behaved.
Well, that's good to know. Good job, Calvin. You didn't stab nobody.
He stabs people.
It's okay. It's just a survival behavior he uses sometimes. We're working on it.
Oh. Well,
Little guy's been through a lot.
That's fair. As he looks down at Calvin, Calvin looks up at him. Kind of like he's still holding the dagger to his chest, and you see the shy smile kind of remain there as he looks up at him. Right. Off you go, little one. And you see Calvin let go of his hand and start walking towards you, Petrichor. Then, but turn around real quick and give the man a quick wave before going all the way to you and hugging your leg.
Okay.
The man
Pat him on
seems
the head.
the man seems embarrassed and unsure what to do with himself as he looks at the captain.
What am I?
Captain, I'll leave you to it. As he makes his way past the three of you now, with the two other Derekai following after. You see the woman Derekai is just staring you down, Petrichor, as she walks past you. Establishing her, trying to establish her establish her dominance. I can't remember the word.
I'll stare back right at her.
Yeah, this staring match for a little bit before inevitably is broken by her going below deck, as Calvin has now rejoined you.
Okay.
Is currently hugging your leg, the injured one by chance. So it kind of feels kind of weird.
Yeah. Got it. Alrighty. Oh, hey Calvin, I have to have a meeting with Captain. Would you like to stand guard outside our door?
He doesn't look back up at you, but he does clench your leg a little bit tighter. And the captain looks at you. I think he'll be fine.
Okay. Just I didn't know what was private information.
Well, Calvin, you see the captain move her head down. This meeting is secret. You can keep a secret, can you? Calvin looks at the captain, nods assertively.
Got it.
I think we're fine.
Alrighty. Go into her office then.
Mm-hmm. You go in, and she goes to her place behind the desk and looks at you, arms behind her back now, having left the hilt of her blade once Nephra passed out. But she stands there looking at you, Petrichor. All right. First Mate Petrichor.
Yes.
Your full report, please.
Well, and I guess I'll just relate everything I know besides the fact of Percival's occurrence with it. He seemed to have an issue and wanted to go in there real bad. Besides that, just we were alerted.
Okay. So you tell her that you were alerted by Cyril or
Yep.
He tried to alert you but seemed to be flabbergasted to the point where you couldn't speak. But from that, you managed to go down and investigate. You told her how you found the room.
Yep. Blood everywhere, guts.
And you
Ulrich
told her
barely alive.
And then you told her about the specters that came up and attacked you all.
Yep. And I pulled Ulrich out of there while those two fought valiantly and almost lost their lives. And then we realized the specters were gone, or did they just turn into mist and left out the window, or did it actually die?
They seem to have fully dissipated. One of them was completely vaporized by, I believe.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the other one was reduced to ichor
Mhm.
by, I believe, Percival.
Got it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So then
Honest-
after that, we examined the area, but quickly took Ulrich's survival took precedence, and we decided to get him to the doctor as soon as possible. And then we ran to you in the hallway. We
I see.
haven't been back, but we also met with Tamith, and we told her to go check it out. I think, right?
Captain Brown was with Tamith.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, and she was the one that told Tamith to go check it out, make sure everything was clear.
Cool.
Captain looks at you through the mask she wears and nods once. So it's safe to assume that the prisoner is no longer present.
Side note, I don't know if my character knows what the prisoner is referencing. Because I have just been appointed, and I haven't been known, the top Area 51 secrets like the president.
That's fair. Make me
He hasn't
an
had an Naruto.
make me an insight check.
Okay.
See if you can read between the lines by the phrase.
Doo-dee-doo. That looks pretty good. Ooh, that looks really good. 20... 21? 22? 22. I'm not good at
22?
math.
Okay, you're fine. Don't worry. If it's above a 20, you're probably good.
Yeah.
During that time, it all started making sense to you. The fact that David's name wasn't mentioned during the funeral, right?
Mhm.
The fact that his body was taken away.
Yeah.
He wasn't buried at sea.
Uh-huh.
The fact that Dr. Rykov had such an extreme reaction to David's death,
Mm-hmm.
but how he would always seemingly go to the brig with the captain. It all just clicks as she asks that, as you now know, the prisoner she's referring to would be David of some capacity.
Got it. Okay. Cool. So did she ask? What did she ask? Something about was the prisoner there?
She asked if it was safe to assume that the prisoner was no longer there.
Yes, I believe that is correct. We had no visual contact with him.
There's a moment of silence as she stands there. But after that moment, she resumes talking to you as she says, well, that is truly upsetting. However, we must prepare them for what might come. For all we know, he might not have gotten far. And this may give us a good chance to test out the Silver Guard in their new service to us.
Valid. Do they have knowledge of how to deal with things like that?
I do not know myself, but nevertheless, I will send you, as well as Nephra, Terry, and Percival, I believe his name was. Send you all over there to determine whether or not they know how to deal with such threats. tomorrow.
Hmm.
Today, you've all been through enough.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree there, Captain.
Please. Don't.
I'm like at full health, but y'all struggling. I didn't get a hit once in that battle because I was too busy pulling a armless guy out.
No, you
Well,
got hit
one arm.
after the battle.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I was not only hit in that one, but the one before it,
Yeah,
which really hurt.
yeah. I just whooshed that
What's that
last
like?
the previous battle too.
Yes. Captain Brown nods her head once. So your mission for tomorrow will be to go to the Levianka, is what they call the ship,
Mhm.
and to make contact with their captain there, this Second Blade Tycho. You are to give him the mission to investigate the nearby ships for signs of the prisoner who you know, whose appearance you know.
Yep.
If he requires your assistance, you are free to give it to him.
Got it. Understood, Captain.
Other than that, I want you to determine how many are on his ship. How many are Silver Guard and how many are regular crew. I want to see the validity of his words and see if his people were truly reduced to such an extreme number.
By this mystery ghost, whatever ship that apparently looks like ours.
The ghost ship.
Ooh.
What worries me is that, well, you saw it, Petrichor. The trouble the Levianka gave our ship.
Mm. Yeah.
The Ember was not made for combat. It was made for
No.
transports. Despite that, our weaponry can deal with most standard pirate ships, or anybody who decides to hassle such a great ship. The Levianka seems to be an Esperan warship.
Mm. I see what you're saying. If they really suffered as much as they did, or they claim to, if we got in a battle with this mystery ship, we could be totally decimated.
Precisely. We need to gather as much information as we can.
Absolutely.
Take accounts of anybody who has seen the ship and identify whether or not it truly is Sparks, the one that went missing after a week.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Whatever you find, you let me know immediately. Understood?
Understood, Captain.
Okay. You're free to leave.
Ready to go, Calvin.
You see Calvin look up at you and nod assertively to you, the same way he did with the captain. As he detaches from your leg, yeah, I had to hobble him into the room and looks patiently next to you.
Mhm.
One arm hanging loose to his side.
Do I be picked up?
You see him lower his gaze, but he does kick the ground at least once.
Okay, I scoop him up. I put him on my shoulders as we duck
Scoop
out.
'em up. You want to get scooped? I'll give you a scoop.
You feel his small his small, slightly furred hands on your forehead, coming around and grabbing the sides of your forehead
Mhm.
as you walk out of the captain's quarters.
Mhm.
All right. That said, Percival, it doesn't take long for you to find the captain's quarters, and you successfully unload Nephra to his bunk. Now that you left him alone, is there anything you like to do now that you're down there?
While I'm like in the quarters.
Yep. Or you can just decide to go back up to the captain's quarters and proceed with that. So up to you what you want to do.
I'll return here later. Or I won't. Really, it depends. So I figure I might as well get the meeting out of the way first.
Fair weather, Percival.
All right. So you go back up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you're going back up, you do pass by Quillith. Just walking past you, holding some wood underneath her arm. She seems to be heading down to the mess hall. As she walks up past you, she's like, "Excuse me," not paying you much attention. And you see behind her 2 other crewmates also holding some wood. This wood doesn't look to be especially sturdy, and upon for inspection of the wood, it looks to be like a crate, a box crate that they basically just ripped up and are using for spare wood parts.
You're also tight.
But yes, you continue up to the top deck where you do see Petrichor and Calvin walking past you as you start going onto the top deck.
Well, good night.
It is early or dusk at this point.
Hmm.
Well, if I don't see you.
Where are you off to?
I also have to meet the captain, I guess. I was told that's
Okay.
why I was told to come back after I put,
Mm.
well, I guess arson away.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right, I'll do a checkup on him later. If I can at that time, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the seeming gender split applies to the officers the same way.
Yeah, it's more like an hourly thing. Like there's hours in there, not in there, so it's just gotta figure that out. I forget what time it is.
Well, and it depends how much it applies to you as first mate.
Yeah. Eh.
During this time, you both do notice Terry making her way up to the crow's nest, back to her usual spot as the bell ringer.
She
Ringing her
truly
bell.
Seems to, yes, she seems to truly enjoy her position.
She does. She has the most job satisfaction out of all of us.
Well, I
Honestly,
feel
good for
I-
her.
Yep,
Good for her. Exactly.
you're not wrong.
Well, hopefully, maybe one day you could see that change slightly.
Mm-hmm. True. Well, I better start getting this little guy back to bed, or to bed.
No problem.
It's been a while since everybody's been to
If I
bed.
don't see you for the evening, you have a good one.
You as well, Percival. You as well.
As you two start making your ways to your respective destinations, first of all, you do notice Calvin looking up at you. Now, as you pass both him and Petrichor, or not looking up, he's kind of looking down because he's on Petrichor's shoulders. But as you walk past, he does wave at you before they disappear below deck as well.
Even though I can't see my smile.
Gotta smile with your eyes.
And as for that, you do see Captain Brand leave her office for a moment and walk over to the Silver Guard, who are still waiting, or at least
Good
the
for
one
you guys.
the one Silver Guard that remained, who returned with the sinker,
Mm-hmm.
looking a bit wet. You don't know why, but he does seem a bit damp, as if he fell into the ocean briefly for some reason that may or may not be attributed to the sinker itself.
No.
But you see her walk up to him, and they begin conversing, or rather, she starts talking to him, and he stands up straighter. And you see him nod once, and then look back at the sinker, and look back at her, and then nod again, and then almost begrudgingly go back into the sinker. As she starts making her way back, she does see you standing nearby. Good. Come on in. And she opens the door and walks in to the quarters.
I'll follow.
All right. As you walking behind, without even turning back to look at you, you do hear her say, "Make sure you close the door."
Right. So I close the door.
And you see her take her usual spot behind the desk. This time with a hand on her hilt of her sword and looking at you. The other hand resting on her hip. So you know you caused us a lot of trouble.
What I'm assuming you're referring to the blame that was passed upon me by the people who attacked us first.
Yes.
So I'm to trust information to people that attack us with something that could inadvertently come back to haunt me if I were to maybe give to the wrong person.
When it's you against an entire ship of people, yes. That is precisely what you must do.
Based on you, obviously you don't know this, but based on the person that I spoke to, there is a strong possibility I would rather die to that army than to die to whatever they could cock up for me.
That is not my concern.
It was mine.
I see.
And
Well,
to be fair, at
because
the
of
time,
it-
I was not part of the ship. And I did what I could to protect the person that was next to me. Whether or not you
Blasphemy.
believe that it was worth fighting for is irrelevant. What I believed was that I could fight the people that were attacking us, and I could keep anybody that was at least nearby me alive as long as I could.
You say that. Yet we both know full well you are a part of the ship.
Sure, now.
And before. My next question is, how are you still alive? As you see the grip on her hilt tighten.
Captain, I don't know what you're talking about.
I won't tell you how I know. That is my own secret to bear. Just know I do know who you are. And that's a clever disguise that this so-called maiden has given you.
Why, you could say I was inspired.
I won't make you reveal your face. I already know for certainty who you are, and to request you to unveil yourself will be hypocritical of me.
Quite. Then you understand why I keep it.
Mhm. You understand why I was disappointed in you.
My argument still stands that based on the fact that I do not understand the powers that be, my only logic at the time is I've done damage to enough of these people. We've done some damage to their ship. It was not apart from me to believe that we could win that fight and instead survive the wrath of some holy, powerful being that even lies above the powers of that ship. While the person was not, did not pose herself as much of a threat, her power warrants the potential concern of trying to maybe believe that they don't have as much strength as they may presume.
I see.
Therefore,
Nevertheless,
to me, it made much more sense to potentially risk some damage to a ship instead of potential destruction of the entire thing. It was in my firm belief we could win that. If you want to criticize me for being wrong, then go right ahead.
as much as I would like to, some fruit was taken after because of your decision. We now have an aspirant Silver Guard battleship in our employ due to their code of honor that dictates that they must repay for the damages that they have done to us. So for that, you have my thanks. I'm still disappointed, but now less so.
Well, they still have yet to prove much trust in that themselves, so to be honest, I feel my distrust may end up being warranted.
Which is why tomorrow you'll determine whether or not they can be trusted. You're being sent with First Mate Petrichor, Nefra, and Terry over to that ship to determine their strength, crew, and to tell them that they need to search the surrounding areas for the prisoner that we had in the brig.
Quite.
The other one that should have been you.
Yes. However, that isn't our biggest concern.
No. Does it involve the old bastard that you seem to have such an adverse reaction to in the doctor's room?
Very much so. If it is looking for him, I don't know what. I'll be perfectly honest. Who is to say whether or not that part of me hated him as much as I did? Who knows? It can become his ally or his enemy as well. All I do know is that if he is around, he didn't keep himself in some ship, which means inadvertently, while there was hope to be had, there was also terrible concern.
What is this threat we might be facing? And I wanted you to be honest with.
Have you heard do you know the Bernard family? I wouldn't put it against you. Apparently, it's not as big of a name as I would have thought.
Big enough for me to know.
Well, at least somebody knows.
I've been
That
around.
makes me feel slightly better about the choice I made initially. Well, you will
So-
have at least knowledge that I clearly haven't hidden my name from this anymore. But most people don't know me by that name on this ship. My concern was for potentially good reason. As you know, the name we once had, and whether or not you heard the rumblings of what it became, is the next question.
That I do not.
Well, you know we were hunters. We're servants of the greater good, slayed creatures that haunted the night. Unfortunately, one day, I guess you could say, friendly competition that my parents had no longer became so friendly. I don't know if it was years of being maybe it had to do with the years of being the black sheep compared to my uncle, or the superior skill of my mother. But my father decided to throw our name out the window decided to take dark power into his own. A practice that existed in our family partly for some time, utilizing certain parts of, I guess you could say, some more drastic arts in order to attain some power to hunt creatures. There are those that almost attained certain lycanthropic powers in order to better hunt those who have that as their whole being. Made a name for ourselves in that fact. He decided to take that an extra step further. But this was long before I was born. However, he could only hide that for so long, as at some point, well, his own desires must have eclipsed his ability to hide his true form. As there was that night. That I don't need to go into. But now that he is a being much far greater than that of what we've already seen on this ship, and we could barely handle that creature as it was.
I see. We had to give a name to this creature. What would it be? Just so we have complete understanding.
He is a much more powerful, mind you. But he is a vampire. And I
see.
at least formerly his kin. Which is what makes the potential lack of power in that other version of me potentially easier to deal with in comparison.
We hope so. You see her take her hand off the hilt and reach into her for a drawer on her desk on her side. She opens it quickly, reaches in, and then pulls out a leather-bound journal, or what looks to be a leather-bound journal, and places it gently on the desk. And then you see her close the door. Since you're honest with me, I should at least return the favor. I know the Bernhard family by reputation. As I said, I've been around. The other time I've heard of the Bernhard family wasn't here. She taps on the journal on the desk. This is the log of our late Captain Florcourt, the captain before me. The one who should be here. Had the calamity not caught up to us so fast. In this journal, he mentions the last name Bernard, and of a man who bore that last name. But it's on the last page of this log. And the captain only expresses complete disdain for the being. Am I to assume that will befit your father?
Likely. He wasn't very personable even before he let loose.
Then if that's the case, he might very well be on the Sparks. And if he's such a great threat, it might be why we lost the Sparks so long ago.
In what way? Despite his power, that doesn't mean he is immune to what is traditionally issues for a creature of his kind. And
I would
the
imagine.
ocean is not his friend.
No, but it seems as if he has found a way either around it, or or by some miracle, he's being on a boat has somehow circumvented the usual weaknesses of a vampire, of which I am familiar with. Nevertheless, no matter what the case is, you just gave me a piece of the puzzle that I didn't realize I was looking for. All this time, I thought this Bernard fellow was just a man that slighted the captain. Now it might be much, much more. Regardless, tomorrow, you will go with Petrichor and Nephra and Terry and see what the Levyanka has. After that, you will have an opportunity to help them search the surrounding ships for your... I do not know what to refer to him as.
Well, it's hard to say. As much as I've loved to dismiss his position, I am still attached to him by blood, one way or another.
Nevertheless, if they give you a chance to help find him, you are perfectly free to take that chance. Petrichor has similar orders, and now you have them as well.
I guarantee you, if we found him, we wouldn't return. Not yet.
I certainly hope you do. The four of you are the most capable beings on this ship, besides myself and the other officers. Even then, some of them are severely lacking compared to all you. And that praise is not freely given from me. Now go rest. You've had a long day. Feel free to any of the bunks down in the quarters. Feel free to continue going by this name. As I said, I will not have you unveil yourself.
Well, to be fair, there's nothing to unveil in terms of the name. It's technically more true than it was.
Fair. But if you suddenly go back to your old moniker, you want to incite panic. After all, to many on the ship who are not in the know, you should be dead.
Well, to be fair, that part of me is, and it'll stay that way. And even though it's walking around, I'll make sure it's put to an end.
Good. You're dismissed, Percival Bernhard.
Captain Bryant. And I'll leave.
All right. Nephra.
Mm-hmm.
When you fell down into slumber, you felt the familiar sensation of unconsciousness take you over. This time, a lot quicker than before, as your current state is very helpful in how fatigued you are in general. But after a while, you feel as if you're sitting down somewhere. Hardwood beneath you and supporting your back. Your eyes are closed. And around you, you hear the soft stillness that seems to indicate that you're no longer on a ship of any sort. As you open your eyes, you're there again. In the same pew as before. Looking at the same altar of features that you can't quite place. It seems almost blurred out of your vision. And behind you, you hear a voice. But not the usual one. This one's kinder, warmer. Behind you, you hear a woman. You hear her say, "Welcome back, my child."
Is that really you, my lady?
Look for yourself, she says quietly.
I turn around in my chair.
Surely enough, there she sits, hands folded on her lap, looking up at you. Exactly how you remembered her. On that front, how do you remember her as?
That's a complicated question.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose in better times, I remembered her as a older woman, auburn, almost red hair, somewhat curly, dressed in full monastery attire. Her face is somewhat hardened, but there's a kindness behind her eyes. She's tall, but she's not frail. She seems sturdy.
And this was before the last time you saw her. This is how she looked.
Yes.
And is that all you remember her for?
Yes.
This one understands. As you hear a more familiar voice behind you.
Is the glaive near me?
The glaive is nowhere in sight. As the lady in front of you looks at you with her kind smile.
Don't.
Arson, you've grown so much. I'm glad I finally get to see you.
I've missed you. I've missed your guidance. I've missed your care. I don't know if you would like it where I am, but I'm sure you would know what to do. And there's so many times when I don't.
You've done so much, child. And now here you are. Looking a little worse for wear, but you're still you. And you accepted that again.
I have. I've started telling people the truth about me, and I gave that name to my tool. So at least they'll be happy. Maybe.
This one does not know the emotion of happiness. But this one is content, knowing that the boy has accepted his name. And thus this one has rewarded the boy. The voice is still coming from behind you. And from in your peripheral vision, you see something dark, kind of like a dark fog, kind of emanating out, but not going any further than your peripheral, to your right side.
I'm not looking at it, I'm looking at her.
See the lady look at you. The smile's still there, a little bit wider now. How long has it been, Arson?
Sister Bastet, it's been too long. I feel like the days bleed into each other. It's definitely been over a year, maybe 2. It could be a day, and it would be too long since I've had you in my life. I'm so sorry.
Don't be, child. There was no saving me, except for the way that you did. And now I'm here, where I belong, in the monastery. Same one I took care of you in.
But this can't be. This can't be the real monastery. I'm on a boat right now. I'm on a ship far away from there. There's been a great disaster that happened. It's impossible for me to be really here, or for you to be here. This has to be something else. What is this place?
The answer for that one is a bit complicated. You see her kind of move her hand around, kind of rubbing the outside of her hands. You recognize this as a habit she usually would do in the past when she was thinking about how to or choosing her words carefully. Usually, you saw this when she was either helping someone who was really in dire straits, or if she was giving you a lesson about something that was a bit more sensitive. But she nevertheless looks back up at you. I guess you could say, Arson, that we are in the monastery you remember. The monastery you hold close. The one in here. And she moves her hand up from her lap and towards your chest. That's where I rest. And that's where this one is. And she indicates to the being behind you.
Do you
This
trust it? The thing behind me that, for better or worse, I may have to serve. Do you trust this thing?
Strangely, yes. But to be fair, I'm still conscious in a way, and it seems to be because of this one right here. She keeps indicating to whatever is behind your right.
Can I understand the glaive is gone. Can I feel the other items that I usually carry on that person?
As you think about the other items you have, um, all of a sudden, you have a little rock in the vague shape of a dog in your right hand.
I got a rock.
You recognize this as the object that Captain Nor gave you after your duel with him.
Yes, indeed. This is the lucky stone.
And in the other hand, you feel something sharp kind of stab into your palm, and as you open it up, you see the trinket that Quillith gave you. The one that seemingly allowed you to no longer be the viewer in these dreams, to actually become a participant, seemingly. But the very least has helped the process. And those are really the only two items you can feel with you.
Sister Bassett, I suppose now that we're in a church, it's a good time to confess.
Wasn't really our sort of thing, but I would hear anything you'd like to tell me.
I still have it, you know. The mace, the one that belonged to you, I still have it. I've been keeping it with me as sort of a... I guess it just reminds me of you, so I keep it with me so that I feel safe.
I see. Thank you for honoring me in such a way, Arson. This one was right to choose you, it seems.
Do they know about the nature of the doctor on our ship, his current state?
I only know as much as you do, child. Fortunately, I cannot look into the outside world. This is my reality now. And my only companion for a good while was... She indicates to whatever is behind you to the right.
There's a doctor on our ship, and he is very ill. I think he is ill in the same way that a man I met, many people that we've met now, have become. It is an illness that does not seem to have a cure. And so far I've been very hesitant in doing what needs to be done because I've grown attached to these people.
Well, it seems like you do have a predicament on your hand. You see her chuckle a little bit before bringing both her hands back on her lap again. Arson, do you remember what I told you during our lessons? How, even though we don't know a lot about the world, our greatest strength is the ability to find out how.
I feel like it's taken me a long time to find out, is all.
And it might take you years, it might take you days. Regardless, as long as you're still able to go out and seek the answers you're looking for, you will find what you're looking for. Simple as that.
But how do I help these people? What if they don't have the time that it takes for me to find the answers?
Then you do what you did for me. You make sure they suffer no longer, and then you remember them. That's the greatest kindness we can do for anybody. Seems the only reason why I'm still here is because of, as she indicates to the being behind you to the right.
I suppose I'm outvoted then.
She nods sadly at that. Yes. But know now that you're not alone. Not anymore. In both in the real world and inside of you. You always have someone with you now, Nephra. You see, the minute she says Nephra, her visage almost kind of glitches out for a brief moment, but then returns. I apologize for that. I'm only here because once you gave out your name, there was no longer this wall around your heart. But there are still others. And if you're invoking, the wall would bring her right back. That was my mistake. You need to wake up soon, my child. You still have a lot of work to do. But now you have my help.
Please don't go far from me.
I'm always with you, Arson. Whether you like it or not, we're both stuck with you.
Arson will now turn and face the other figure for the first time.
And you see the figure that you've come to both to despise and to fear slightly. The figure stands there in its regular visage of a black hood with smoke coming out. Although in this case you see a long tendril darkness around this being. It takes you a second to realize that that being is the visage of Tavian, one of the mutineers, one of the specters you faced, the one that attacked you. You see the visions of it. You see it resembles more the spectral state, but also looks more humanoid as it struggles there in the grasp of this being. It looks down at you as the being looks at you, Arson. This one is bound to you, boy. If you fall, this one falls. And thus, you see it, the tendrils squeeze in, and the entity that resembles Tavian screams a soundless scream as you see the agony playing on its face, its empty eyes conveying every single bit of pain that it's supposedly feeling. And then you see it dissipate and then vanish. As you see this, you feel two gentle hands on your shoulders, Arson. And in your ear, you do hear Lady Bassett talking to you one more time. You hear her say, "Be careful of a past you could not have known." And then you wake up. In the morning, so we'll go right back to you. But just know that you're no longer at 10 health.
Right.
As Petrichor, what do you do before night falls?
I just get Calvin back to the kids area, wherever he sleeps.
Usually with one of you. If you remember, since the event 7 days ago, he has not detached himself from one of the three remaining of you.
Well, considering that Nephra passed the fuck out, I don't trust Percival 110%, and Terry's having a bell moment. I'll bring Calvin to my room. He'll sleep with me. However, I will try my best to get in contact with Tamith to help me fix the hole in my roof for him. Not that I didn't enjoy the sunroof.
The skylights, yes.
The skylight. However, for Calvin's sake, we'll fix it.
I hear you.
Even just temporarily.
It's only for Calvin. Just, you know. I don't want you to get some weird idea that I didn't like it.
No.
Sometime during the evening, while you're looking for Tamith, you do find her down in the mess hall. You realize that they're working hard to seal up that where the ballista bolt had pierced through and ravished that side of the hull. Thankfully, that part of the hull is not in contact with water mostly, but they would rather be safe than sorry in the case that you start sinking. They'd rather not have a hole in the side of the ship.
Yeah.
That can't be closed. She tells you that unfortunately, top priority would be the holes, but she'll see what she can do for your roof, either later on that night or tomorrow morning. But by the time you go back to your room, it's pretty late in the night, and you have a feeling that she won't be able to get to it that night. But at the very least, now it is no longer raining.
Well, that's good.
It's just somewhat humid.
Okay, I'm going to see if I have any see if I get rid of some of the water in the air. Yeah, I can still use that. I'm going to decrease the humidity because I'm apparently at temperature gauge. So I'm gonna use my dehumidifier spell and
Okay.
just destroy some of the water that's in the area.
All right. It takes you a bit because you usually you have to concentrate on the body of water you want to destroy.
Mhm.
In this case,
It's hard to
a bit
figure out.
it's harder to
Yeah.
do, but you manage to take some of the humidity out, um, and it becomes not altogether very uncomfortable, but
More
enough to
manageable.
manage. Yeah.
Okay.
As Calvin finds the spot on your bed that he enjoys most, which is next to the wall.
Okay.
Um,
I'll go to bed.
mhm. And you go to bed.
Mhm.
As you sleep,
I don't have dreams. That's never thing.
surprise.
Surprise! I have dreams now.
As you sleep, you get stabbed.
Oh shit!
Several times.
Which is
Calvin, what I tell you? No nice in bed.
Hey,
First
too,
rules.
Calvin. But as you sleep, you find yourself on the deck of a ship.
Mhm.
What?
One
Wow.
you're not too familiar with. And you seem to be lowered to the ground.
Mhm.
Um,
It's like laying on the ground.
no, you seemed as if you just gone like a foot or two shorter.
Got it.
As you look around, you see several figures walking by, but their motions seem to be more of a blur of sorts, as if you can't really focus on one thing too clearly. But as you look around, you see a being coming up to you,
Mhm.
but stop a few feet in front of you and outstretch their arms as they take a slight knee. And before you even know it, you start running towards this being. Your
Mhm.
arms in front of you. You see your hands are small, like a child's, and they're not blue. You see them a regular hue. One a bit tan, but not extremely so. And you run towards this thing, or this being, I should say. And you go right into their arms, and they pick you up, holding you tight. And as they pick you up, you gotta go look at their face. You see a man, relatively young, late 20s, with your standard brown hair,
Mhm.
green eyes, and with all the joy in the world in his face as he holds you. You see his face go away from you and back to you, then away from you and back to you, and you realize you're being thrown up in the air several
Okay.
times. This overwhelming feeling of joy comes over you. Of just you're just so excited and happy to be there.
Mhm.
And as you're being thrown up and down, you do look at the clothing that he seems to be wearing. You see that the clothing he wears is a brown robe accented with emerald. And it takes you a second before you realize this is the same garb that the people on the Myliki's Grove wore when you were there. What seemed to be ages ago, by how much stuff has happened since then.
Mhm.
You see him finally catch you and then cradle you in his arm, holding you on his left side as he reaches into his pocket. And you see he starts talking, but there's no words come through. But there's a smile, and by the expression on his face, it seems as if he's about to show you something, but is making you guess. You feel a bit of irritation, a childlike irritation of just wanting to see the object already. After a while, you see him roll his eyes to the side as he relents. He pulls out uh, this flower shaped like a star, and he holds it to you. And you feel this overwhelming joy come over you as you see it and you take it in your hands. And you see, as you take it, you kind of dip it to the side a little bit, and a little bit of nectar comes out. He quickly fixes that by writing it in your hand and lets you know about something about the flower. But of course, no words. You don't know what he's saying. But as he looks at you, smiling at you, you see his form start to fade away. And you see aspects of animals start to replace some of his features. You see some scales coming through. The mouth become wider like a frog.
That's a tornado siren.
Ooh.
Just letting you know.
All right, I'm gonna finish it before we all die.
The detection was to the east of us, and it's already moving, and it is moving more to the east of us.
Cool. All right, I'll let her know. You see the brown hair become more patched as scales start to take some of the spots. You see what looks like shark teeth place his normal teeth in this wide mouth. And you see fur start to come in patches in his skin. As you've seen something very similar to this creature before. Now, back on the Myliki's Grove. But this creature doesn't look at you with hostility. Instead, he looks at you with a sadness so profound it almost takes you aback by the contrast of the sadness to his overall hideous features. But as you look down, you see the same flower in your hands. The nectar inside of it slightly glowing. And then you see him start falling back. The final strike of a glaive sending him overboard. A whip seen slashing across his chest as he falls. And as he disappears over the ledge, you wake up. Very confused.
Yeah.
But you wake up. And in your pocket you feel something moist in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Moist?
And as you reach in,
Mm-hmm.
you feel something, a thick liquid of sorts, almost
Slimy.
not like a slime. It's a bit more fluid than that. It's like
Phloem.
a thick juice.
Okay.
And as you pull out the object, you see it's a star-shaped flower with some of its nectar falling out. And you remember, there's the flower that you picked up after the fight with the
Yeah.
This
amalgamation.
is Kingdom
Mhm.
Hearts.
You see, as you come in contact with the nectar, those parts of your hand there's a sensation as you come in contact with it. It's not a bad one though, as you feel several the rough skin on your hands almost smooth out.
It's a great moisturizer. Okay,
And that's how you wake up.
got it. All right. Fab.
Yeah. So that's you. Percival,
Yes.
you go to sleep
Cool.
and you wake up uneventfully. Human sleep is weird.
Humans, am I right?
You actually woke up halfway through the night.
Normal.
To pee. And then you got right back to bed.
All right. You woke up halfway through the night because you were cold. That was rather odd. You used your blanket that you had on the cot that was a lot cleaner than most people's because you never found a real use for it.
You know.
And you feel this strange heaviness to your body as you wake up.
You got a beaver.
And this intense urge to use the bathroom.
Gotta get you some Motrin.
This is the first time you consciously wake up as a regular.
Roll regular Joe.
And yes.
Right.
So with that said, you're all awake. What would you all like to do? As some of you have been given some intense things.
Well, I'm gonna take the flower and put it in like a drawer. Like, do I have a desk? I was assuming like I have a desk at least, a trunk.
You have a desk. It belonged to Silent though.
Ugh. Empty out a drawer, like take the contents of one drawer, put it in a lower drawer, so I just have one drawer, it's just flower in the drawer.
All right. You take you take a random drawer out, which turns out to be the bottom one, and you kind of empty it out. A bunch of clothes come out of it, and one single letter.
I stuffed it in the drawer.
You put the flower in the
Not
drawer
my
as well.
business. Yes.
Okay. And that's what you do. Nevra, real quick, what do you do?
Where's Felix?
Right next to you.
Okay, question 2. I have a pillowcase, right?
Sure.
Okay. It's like a cloth pillowcase. Would that be correct to say?
Wool. It's not doing so great, but yes.
Okay. I am going to look around to see if anyone is around, and then immediately, I take the pillowcase off, and I'm gonna start like tearing strips of the cloth off and like putting them into my robes.
Okay.
Probably like 4 or 5 strips.
All right. Is that all you do?
Yep. And then after that, I take my glaive and I'm actually gonna head out the door.
Wonderful. And then Percival. Anything you like to do in the morning?
Just keep an eye. Like I'm gonna look for the book that was kept in the bed here.
Okay. You look for the book. Now,
Right in there for a bit.
And you do so. After you make a solid entry in it, you all eventually make your way up to the top deck, where a man in silver guard armor looks re-wetting
Sure.
and standing next to the sinker. And that's where we're going to end the session for today. I was about to say we're going to end the campaign.
Wow. That's
Whoa.
a question.
Whoa.
Yeah. Stuff happens. You all took a long rest, by the way, just so you all know.
Yay.
All right. Well, we're gonna
Because
end
we
it.
need it.
We're
Yeah,
gonna make sure the
unfortunately, yeah,
stream
we-
ends pretty abruptly here. So
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
unfortunately, we get some weather concerns.
yeah.
But yeah.
So make sure it ends on our terms.
Right. Yeah. You all have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see
There
you
you
all
go.
next week.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Bye.